This video help will cover the tenant billing. In the tenant billing screen, we did cover this in the previous video, but I'm going to cover the tenant billing report and tenant billing statement. Now, I have a sample record in here right now for this particular tenant where it shows the date of the item that was being charged and or to billed to the tenant. In this particular case, it could be any number of different things that might be put in here as far as the tenant is concerned. It could be his monthly rental, it could be a deposit, it can be whatever. Now, this was covered in the previous video, but I might go and show you that in this case, communal charges. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and say that this was somebody changed that on me. So, this is a deposit, and in the case of the deposit, it's for a sample tenant, which would be the actual name of the tenant that's in this area here. And as I explained before, you type it in here, and then when you actually go into the billing, you take it from a drop down and pick it from the list. When you have more tenants, this will be full, and you just pick it right off the drop down list. The date of the transaction, in this case it was a deposit, the actual fee that was amount due, the amount that was paid, in this case it was a cleaning deposit, and the date it was paid, and the balance due will be a calculated field that will show the summary of what is left over to be paid. And in this particular case, it's the next time date due. In this case, it's every 30 days, and the next due date would be this one. And then the last one is late fees if they have any. Now, we're going to take a look at the actual billing report. When we go to the billing report, you're going to see where it actually summarizes the one item. It tells you who he is, and it also tells you the residence that he's in. If you wanted to take and run a report on this particular customer, client, lease person, whatever they may be, you would do a find and put in the person's information as far as their name. And what it would do, if you wanted to, you could do a date range in the date paid or in the date due, or in one of those two fields. And what that would do is it'd render the report for that date period and summarize the information for that period. So there's another way to do that we're going to talk about that's on the tenant statement, but then we're going to go to that next. But anyhow, what it would do is it would summarize by a date range or whatever, or you can just look and pick the one that you want to go to. Clicking this button will take you back to the tenant or to the main menu. And in this case, what it's doing is it's taking us to the tenant statement. Now, the other button on the actual tenant screen for billing was this statement. Now, when you're leaving that report, it takes you back to the individual statement, and there's a purpose behind that. If you had created or did a find either in this window or the other one to group the records in a specific way, that tenant information would be shown in this report. Now, what's nice about this you have to understand is that if you're running a tenant report and you want to do it for a given period, maybe the tenant is requested, or you're going to do it for the owner or management company's reason for having it, you can pick the date ranges and then run that report to show those things in the tenant's report. Here's the little thing that shows you how to do the date range, and it says be aware that to show a date range, use the formula that is in the due date or the date paid, which are the two up here, and then run this little formula, putting your dates in there for the date range that you want to do. And then it'll produce the report for that date range. You can print this report or this statement, or you can email it to the client. Either way, when you go to print it, this information on this side of the screen will not be visible. So you'll be able to see all this information here that's on the printed form, and the rest of it would be on the not being shown. Now, be aware that if you're using something other than US paper, which is 8.5 by 11, you need to let me know so I can process this screen. On A4 or other paper, the screen would have to be moved in a little bit so that it would show more, and then of course it'd be longer as far as length is concerned. If you have any questions or need any more information about this particular screen, you can contact me by email. Thank you.